Hello YouTube, I decided to do a new video. It's about my crypto trading bot. Basically, I added some features and I want to show how it's gonna work. So basically, there's some new options that you can put in the config file. It's this guy, adjust trigger. So if the value is 0, it's not gonna change anything. If the value is 1, the trigger price is gonna be adjustable, and it's gonna adjust with the trigger value. So alright, so this bot is trading on the 1 minute chart. So basically, if you have like a trend line like this and you want it to set up, let's say like here, you calculate the rate of change of the price. If you just gotta figure out how much the price changed during the period of time divided by the number of minutes. And that's going to be the rate of change for that trend line. So basically, yeah, so this is long setup. Rate of change is positive 0.45. So if you're on a short setup, you want to have a negative rate of change, right? And then, so I'm running it live. Basically, what happened is we took an entry at 16.29, just about here, and we made profit. So we took profit about here, and now it's waiting. It's actually so the way it's set up, if you lose, it's gonna stop trading, but if you win, it keeps the adjusting the trigger entry. So if the price crosses below this trend line again, it's gonna set up again. So basically, if you're lucky and you hit the trend line multiple times, you can basically win multiple times in a row. So yeah, I started trading again lately, and I was using trend lines, and it kind of worked pretty good for me. So I was like, all right, let's automate this process. So I did, and now I'm using it on automatic mode, and it's kind of nice. I just basically I just added this part and some of the code. So basically, time vals gonna be -1 if it's gonna get changed whenever the trigger is greater than 0. So if you have the trigger at 0 in the settings, it's not gonna adjust your trigger. But if the trigger is greater than 0, it's gonna enable it. But I'm not gonna dive too deep in the code right now. I just since it might trigger live, I figured that talk about it a little bit while the price maybe the price is gonna activate the trigger, so I can show it in here. Not sure. We'll see. But yeah, while it's trying to do it, maybe I can go and explain some more. I did some other change in the code. So basically, yeah, there's like action. So you have action now. It's gonna trade whichever side you want as soon as the price moves your way. But if there's nothing here, it's gonna use the trigger entry. So it's gonna be based on the price that you choose. It used to be that it would only go one way. Like if you set up a price, let's say you wanted to buy long, the entry had to be below the current price. If you wanted to sell short, the entry had to be above the current price, so that now it doesn't really matter. It's gonna do it either way. So I just added some code. It's just basically initially at the start, it's gonna right here. My price, if the price is greater than the entry price, it's gonna be above, and if else, it's gonna be below. And with these attributes, basically here, it's gonna be like, all right. So if the price was below, we're gonna set up short when the price gets above, and if the price was above, we're gonna set up when the price is below the entry. So that way it's gonna be able to set up both ways when you set up a trigger. And so yeah, if you have a trend line and the price a little bit below, you want to go long, it's gonna trigger either if you're below or above. As soon as it crosses the trend line, it's gonna do it. Anyways, so yeah, it seems like I know I wanted to see it bounce and see my bot set up the entry, so doing it live type thing. But the trade gods are not favoring me, so I suppose maybe we can look at the code a little bit more. Oh wait, no, yeah, no, that's just an update. So every hour it updates the current entry price, just so you know what's up. So yeah, it just updated. So now it's at 547, the entry, which would be pretty close to this line. It's hard to get the right the right trigger value for adjustment. So you have to figure out what's the rate of price change on the trend line, which is hard to nail like on the penny. But the closer you get, the more you'll be close to your trend line. So like on the longer time scale, like it's like after it's gonna be good. Like it's gonna work for a couple hours, like maybe a day. But like if you're gonna trade on that same trend line for more than a few days, and you're not precise on the adjustment of the trigger, well, it's gonna get offset from what you actually want to set up. So yeah, make sure you set up the adjustment like as close as you can get it. Technically, like trading on the 1 minute chart, it doesn't really matter. It's not gonna stay on the trend line for days. Like it's gonna break out of the trend. Like it might stay in the channel, but like just it's not gonna stick for more than half a day, I'm sure. But yeah, this is not financial advice, right? So don't use my my trading strategies for trading, because I'm not there yet. But yeah, you can absolutely use the software to assist you. That's all good. That's why I'm publishing it. Anyways, so trade gods not favoring me. I'll give it another few minutes. Maybe I can talk about the code a little more. It's not too much to talk about, really. I mean, there's some stuff to talk about. It's almost 400 lines. It's not super intensive. I want to make a video just talking about the code, but like I guess I can go through it briefly. So there's a few functions: get config, check internet. So this is like I'm opening the config file as a JSON file, because basically the JSON format is pretty much like a dictionary, and so the format of the config file is a dictionary format. So you have the key value. So you can load it as with the JSON function, and it's gonna do it right. Check internet. I'm using the socket to make a connection. If it works, it's gonna return true. If there's a problem, it's gonna return false. Send auto order. This is using an API that I downloaded from Kraken. It's basically using the REST method. So I use the WebSocket, like a public WebSocket, to get the feed of the tickers, but I use like a private, the method REST method in private to send the orders. These are WebSocket functions, so every time there's a message, this is the function, open, thread. So basically I use a threading for the WebSocket. So what I do, I use a generator function to start the thread, and then later on in the function I check first 50 seconds without message. Yeah, see if after 15 seconds without a new message, I just restart the thread. Yeah, that's pretty much the handling I do for the thread. The rest of it for the generator function, it's just doing some EMA and some other simple algorithm to know if the price is going up or down. And then it yields like a data dictionary, so I can run this function over and over and refresh the data based on the WebSocket feed. And yeah, so the main, I just load the config files, data, and this is the main loop. So if it's gonna set up long, it basically, this is handled here. If it's set up short, handle here. And if there's no setup, it waits for a trigger. Then as soon as the price gets triggered, setup short or long. Anyways, I'll do a deep dive eventually on a deeper dive. Like I just hovered real quick, but maybe I can go like into the details of the code for the helper bot. I guess I was kind of doing it right there, but it was not part of the plan. I'm just winging it, hoping that. So yeah, now it's sticking on this thread line. I was hoping that we'd get a little dip, and I could set up. Maybe it's not gonna happen, but maybe it's this. Maybe it's gonna go like that, do a little bit here, and then go. That's wishful thinking. Yeah, so don't think it's gonna do it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and maybe give it a couple of extra more minutes. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's probably more to talk about. Yeah, so the functions, like for the short setup, long setup, they're pretty much the same functions. It's just a different side. Basically, sets up break even, trailing, lock profit. They're all set up at false. So these are the. So if you're making money, it's gonna start with break even and then trailing and then lock profit. There's 3 different kinds of way, like 3 different levels where because this bot is gonna like trail. Like if it's making money, it's gonna trail the stop loss or the take profit. So initially there's like a stop price. So then it starts a loop. So there's like a quarter-second loop. So every quarter-second it loops and like gets refreshed data on based on the WebSocket. And then so this is an added function that's gonna change the entry price so that every time there's a new minute, it updates the entry price so that if we win, it's gonna know where to set up following the trend line that if it's enabled. So if trailing, okay, that's a little bit later, so it's gonna start here. So if this is the first point, so basically if the price goes up like 0.9%, it's gonna change the stop price and it's gonna take like I call it like a break even. So 0.7%, which is it's not break even. You're actually making money. That what does mean is like it's gonna be able to pay for a loss. So you can take a loss and take a break-even profit, and the break-even profit's going to pay for the loss and a little more. So if you're doing like a 50-50, 50-50 trades, like if you're winning and losing 50-50, you're going to be profitable using this bot. And then this is the first step. And then if the price moves above 1.1%, it sets up trailing, which gets you get a little more money. It changes the minimum stop price, and then it starts trailing, which if trailing, this is the second step in training, so this is the first step. So basically at trailing, when the price is going above the stop price by 0.35%, so it's gonna trail the stop price like 0.35% behind the actual price. That's what I call trailing. And then when the profit is greater than 1.6%, we're set up lock profit. So this is a different kind of trading. So instead of trailing 0.35%, it's going to trail 0.6% behind. So it trails a little bit farther the more money you make. But if you're in lock profit mode, there's a different way that we trigger the stop loss. So let's say it does a big move and the price start moving sideways. We're gonna use the EMAs to trigger the stop loss or the take profit, so that when the EMA 5 is greater, basically when EMA 11 crosses EMA 5, it's gonna trigger the take profit. And then if the bid is greater than the stop price, basically that's when you take profit or take a loss depending on what happened. So it's gonna send an order. It's gonna get you out of the position. And then if you made profit, see here it says preferred size to none. But if you make profit and you had like the auto trigger enabled, it's gonna set the preferred size to short, so that it's gonna keep on trading for you. And I think that's pretty much the logic of what's going on in trades. Like that's for a short setup, but it's the same thing for a long setup. Same numbers, everything is just the other side. Doesn't look like I'm getting favored. It's sticking to this trending line. But anyways, I know it works. I've tested it already, so I know that as soon as the price cross below, it's gonna set up. If it doesn't, well, it doesn't, So you just gotta stop the bot and change your values and maybe trade this trend line instead of this one. But I'm not like this is not financial advice. This is my current opinion as a unprofitable trader. So take it like you wish. And I suppose, I'm gonna close it, but it does not look like it's gonna be going to trigger my setup. Definitely wish it did it live. It would have been nice. But I'm still optimistic that it could actually do it. But I don't have much more to say about this spot. I mean, I guess I'm starting to make it like a deeper dive. But this is the generator functions, relatively simple. Gets so this is the main loop, which it's triggered like every time you call next in the codes. That's how like a generator function works, right? So at the start of the loop, my dictionary call next. So every quarter of a second, I refresh the data dictionary. And the data dictionary is getting fed by the WebSocket thread which is asynchronous, so basically it runs on its own, so it doesn't need the thread to refresh to get new data, right? And then so the minute list that gets updated with the thread. So basically, when the thread receives a new message, we're gonna update the list, and the last price is gonna get updated. And at the end of the 1 minute, I set up a list like so it's like the 1 minute candle chart type thing. So I can generate the EMA, right? So I generate the exponential moving average with the 1 minute list. I just do like so I'm using technical analysis, the library which uses the Panda data frames, and it's just relatively overkill. Like I could probably just do the algorithm myself, but I used to do like a more like automated strategy that use like RSI and stochastic RSI and a bunch of other indicators. So right now it's relatively simple. This guy is, but I'm still using Pandas and TA because it works and does it fast. So I don't really, it's good enough for me. And yeah, so every time there's a 1 minute, a new 1 minute, we're gonna change the EMA 5 and 11. And this part of the algo is just basically I check the bit, the new bit, compare it with the old bit, and depending if it's bigger or lower, I can determine if the price is going up or down. And I use that. There's basically there's a volatility counter, so that I don't use in the code, but it's still in there. So basically, if the price goes up fast, the volatility number is gonna get high. If it goes up, if it goes down fast, it's gonna get negative fast or faster depending on how fast it moves. But that I don't really use. I use the side. So if it's up or down, I basically when I set up in trades, I make sure that the side is up, so that you want to buy when the price is moving up, not down, right? Ideally, you want to have the wings in your sails, so that's how I do it. And yeah, that's basically the indicators. That's like a custom indicator that I made, but this is what I use for trading. Yeah, so it's not doing it. Alright, whatever. So I'll go ahead and close this video, and hope you guys understand a little bit better of what, if you use it, or if you're ever going to use it. This is the video that's going to tell you what's going on behind the scene. I'd probably do like a deeper dive video in the code maybe later. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. Maybe this was a good enough dive. Anyways, thanks for watching, and you guys have a good day.